This is my buddy Patrick. I came up with that name all by myself. I can't do this. This is too ridiculous. Funny story, actually. I don't remember what year it was. One St. Patrick's Day, I don't remember where I was, but there was some total stranger walking down the street with this guy on their shoulder. And I don't know what I said, but I convinced them to give me Patrick here. True story. But anyways, if you saw my video on Monday, you know I've got some old videos I need to share. I'm cleaning out my hard drives. I need to practice with a new video editor, so I'm doing this to get some practice in with all that. My original plan was to do these on Mondays. That would give me an entire week to do them, but then I realized that this weekend is St. Patrick's Day, so I'm putting this one out a couple days early. What better excuse to use the giant file in my hard drive that says St. Patrick's Day 2018. Fair warning, I don't remember a lot of the details from that weekend. No, not because I was drinking. I mean, a little bit because I was drinking. But it was 5 years ago, and this was pretty early in my video adventures. I didn't know what I was doing, so the settings are wrong, and like there's almost zero footage of me whatsoever. I really just kind of started getting into street photography, so like the photos are kind of okay. I guess what I'm saying is don't expect a cinematic masterpiece, but I'm going to do my best. But anyways, St. Patrick's Day 2018. Cheers. Oscar Wilde once wrote, "I can resist everything except temptation." I prefer my version a bit more, a phrase that's become rather ubiquitous among my friend group. Don't tempt me with a good time, because I'll do it. So when the idea for a St. Patrick's Day beer and food truck festival in DC was brought up, I was in. And so were my friends. That's about all the song I can play before I get copyright struck. So here's some generic license music instead. Now, when Oscar Wilde, being the Irishman that he is, said everything in moderation, including moderation, I can only assume he was referring to food and drink. We arrived in DC and mischief was on our minds with a ravenous appetite for shitty green beer and good food. It was a long weekend with the sole purpose of exploring DC, eating and drinking whatever we could get our hands on. Moderation was not on the menu. I was equipped with a shiny new camera and a newfound urge to learn how to make videos. I think Ross was in the same boat. We'd both been watching entirely too much YouTube back then and had no idea what we were doing. At the time, one of our friends in the group worked for the Marriott, so he secured some pretty sweet rooms in Arlington on the cheap.
Let me live vicariously through you.
Oh, yeah.
Vicariously?
Yeah, you got to prove it. Yeah, that too.
Now refer a friend.
24 for 24?
Not quite like that. I mean, it was a lot like smashed on top of each other. That's the key. You have the key.
I didn't know Kramer was going to answer
Yeah.
After checking in and dropping off our bags, we met up in the lobby to find our first celebratory drinks of the weekend. I didn't record anything else that night. I have no real recollection of what transpired. Did we set fire to an abandoned short bus? Did we have a street brawl with a gang of 12-year-olds who steal their bicycles? Mysteries of which only the universe may ever know.
Alright, let's go.
Yeah, can we just go bowling?
You were in charge of the going bowling street.
Okay,
and then
well let's
you
go.
just
Give me
decided that
the
was-
bike. I'm going bowling.
Wait, what? We gotta follow you, dude.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
But the sun came up the next day, as it does. Full of regret and hangovers, we set off to find breakfast and caffeine. I'm not sure what we ate, but if I had to guess, a heaping pile of eggs, bacon, and a side of grease. We had a few hours to kill before what was the crux of our trip, an all-you-can-drink beer and mimosa food truck festival. So we started walking and exploring. Now, street photography was fairly new to me niche that I really enjoyed, still one of my favorites. On this particular trip, I decided to try my hand at it, and there's plenty of pretty things to see in DC and take pictures of. People watching, old buildings, monuments, the occasional street performer, burnt short buses, and cars getting towed. That's excessive. Now, making our way across town by foot was a long hike. But we had time to kill, and the plan was simple. Sightsee, burn some calories to offset our gorging, and maintain ourselves somewhere just beyond sober. A holy pilgrimage, the likes of which I'm sure St. Patrick would be proud. When we finally made it over to the festival, we stood in line for a short time to get our IDs checked and our tickets scanned. Then it was off to the races. Priority 1, secure green beer. Look at this guy's hat. It's huge. Ross and I stumbled across a local cigar shop. Eventually, we rejoined everybody as we stood, talked, people watched, and drank. After we drank the place dry, they had to shut down.
No, she was here first. I saw her and I was like, yep, there it is.
That's a little bit strange.
Slightly inconvenient.
It was around 5 or so, just in time for us to stumble around and find dinner. And obviously more drinks. We started with the closest bar we could find that didn't have a line. A dimly lit basement arcade with some live music and Irish whiskey. Now, there's no good hook to hang a story arc on here. We played a few games, sat around, laughed, made our way back to the hotel rooms. But what I can offer is a little bit of hindsight and life advice. These are the days and the weekends that you'll look back on and remember. Okay, so maybe remember is a bit of a strong word choice here, but... So even now, 5 years later, when my friends ask if I want to get out of town to eat and drink, my answer's still the same. Don't tempt me with a good time.